doing there, Angela? Look at you. You got a nice little... You're about to start freestyling. This is like, what's that guy, the Harry Mack?
Who's Harry Mack?
Oh, Harry Mack, you gotta do a
We've been
little
bringing
dive.
him up in our podcast recently. He's that rapper that basically you give him 3 words that are like have nothing to do with each other, and then he kind of raps a rap immediately on point, like talking about those 3 words you just kind of randomly threw in. He's a freestyle rap artist that's just amazing.
He's a wordsmith.
He's a wordsmith, exactly.
I don't know anybody, so...
Yeah, he's just one of these internet, what do you call it, sensations. So,
Celebrity. I don't know if he's a sensation.
I would say he's a sensation. We've mentioned him twice on the podcast now, so that is clearly a sensation.
Hey, can you guys hear Chapo?
No.
Did you hear my dogs barking?
No.
Cool.
No.
Hey, can you hear my mom scootering around?
No.
Patty?
Can you
Patty, we all say hi.
Hi, Patty.
Can you hear my
Patty.
intrusive thoughts? Is she here?
Aw, what happened?
Yeah.
She actually had surgery right after she left TCW.
Oh,
She had like 3
Hello, Patty.
plates. All types
We
of
love
stuff.
you, Patty.
oh. Are you taking care of
Wait, we might want to cut this part out.
That's the best part. But, I mean,
the podcast.
and next time she could fill in for you, and we'll be all right with that.
Yeah, we can have her be our special guest host.
Ben, help me.
Ben?
She told me not to.
We love you, Patty.
That's definitely going in the podcast now.
Yeah.
So officially welcome to the
Yes.
to the Dog Psychology Podcast. No, to Back Talking.
Which one?
You got me all messed up over here. We have our third guest, Angela Adan. Is it Adan or Adan?
Adan.
How do you pronounce it? I've never asked you that.
Adan.
Aiden.
Adan. Okay, Angela Adan. Yeah, and we have Doriam over here and Ben via Riverside. And welcome. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. For people that don't know, I'm sorry. Angela is an amazing dog trainer, dog rescuer, person who helps on television shows, and someone who helps put TCD. She's basically the heart and soul of TCW. Without her, it kind of doesn't run. And we've talked about TCW several times, so I just wanted to give shout out to the real Angela Adan over here. Amazing.
It's been confirmed she is an actual dog whisperer. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a question right off the top, Angela. Do you
Okay.
consider yourself human being or out of this world?
Oh, definitely out of this world.
I would totally agree with that.
You already knew.
You're definitely out of this world. How did that happen? Can you see that?
They're good.
What?
No, you can't.
No. Oh, something just popped up on our screen. That was funny. Anyways, so Ben, you have any questions you want to lead off with, Angela?
You know, I do have a question for Angela. I never, I've heard a lot of people's story, but what's your story? What's the beginning of Angela and Dog World look like? And whether it's at home or whether it was once you became an adult, what's your beginning look like for you entering the dog world?
From the time I was very little, I was incredibly shy, like painfully shy. Could not have a conversation with an adult human being. Just couldn't do it if it was beyond my family. But I always connected with animals, and dogs was like, the thing where I always felt like safe and comfortable. And from then on, like, it was just my life was all about animals. I grew up around dogs, cats, horses, like everything.
What's the first dog you remember? Like you have a good memory.
Yeah, my first dog, his name was Danny, and he was this little Shih Tzu. And we got him from like a family friend. They couldn't keep him anymore, and so my family offered to take him. And when we got Danny, I was super excited, and he bonded with me like right away. And then he got to a point where I thought he was bonding with me, right? Because we didn't know any better when we were younger, but really he was being very territorial over me. And my brothers, I have 3 brothers, and they used to all just mess with me growing up. And so my brothers would walk by the couch, and Danny would be sitting on my lap, and my brothers would like grab me by the arm and shake my arm just to like get a reaction out of Danny, and Danny would like go after him, and they thought it was the funniest thing. And I'd always be like, "Stop! Don't do that!" Like don't bother Danny. And it just made this like big problem. And then that's when I started watching Caesar's show, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't good." Like and it kind of just transpired from there. So
hey, I grew up with Shih Tzus my whole life. I never had any other dog growing up than Shih Tzus.
they're such cool little dogs.
They always stack up too. They're
so loyal
little dogs.
Yeah,
Loyal is the right word, I guess.
very loyal.
Yeah.
So from your very first dog, you were applying Caesar techniques, basically?
Not in the beginning, no. But I probably got him when I was like 12, and then like 2 years into it was when I discovered Caesar's show. It was like that Weimaraner, and he rollerbladed with it. It was like a really insecure dog, and I watched that episode, and I was like, wow, that was really cool. And then I just became a little bit of like obsessive watching all of his shows, and then I started doing stuff with Danny, and it started working, and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
That's awesome. You're young.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know you
I
were
was
that
really
young.
young.
I'm glad I got to know.
Yeah.
I'm glad I knew that. hey, one last question, unless you guys want to take over. Let's give a question eager to ask.
I want to know your
Hey,
question.
so what did you do first in the dog profession? It's like, what was your first job as a dog professional? I think I have an idea, but I just want to see.
Yeah. When I was 6 years old, I used to go around and tell everyone I wanted to be a vegetarian, but really what I meant is I wanted to be a veterinarian. I just didn't know the difference in the words. But from a really young age.
Vegetarian.
Yeah, now I'm vegan, so.
And a vegan. So. Talk about manifesting. Go ahead.
Right? Yeah. From the time I was 6, I knew.
Yes, you did.
But I really wanted to be a vet, and I did like all my pre-vet and everything. Like I was going to go to school to be a vet, but when I was 14, I got a job at a vet hospital because it was just all about me being a vet. And I did that for 15 years.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I worked in vet hospitals for 15 years, like private practice, shelters, humane societies. I ran like spay-neuter clinics. I've worked in it all with like medical stuff. I loved learning. I'm very grateful that, I have all of that background. But I didn't want to go that route. But working in veterinary medicine was like my first job with dogs.
That's why.
That's why you're familiar with the care of animals and need special care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your first?
I did that.
What was your first
for
special care animal? I'm sorry.
My first what?
Special care dog, basically, like special needs.
Special needs.
Special needs.
Well, Ferris. Ferris was the first dog that I got that had anything wrong with him. And for those who don't know Ferris, he's the cutest little Jack Russell Terrier who was born with spina bifida. I got him from a shelter. I'll tell you the story of how I got Ferris because it's kind of fun. But I was going to a shelter. I went to shelters in LA when I was probably like 23, and I was pretty young. I was new into the rescue world. I started into the dog rescue world when I was 22 years old. But I was at a shelter, and I showed up to the shelter, and I was like, I will pull all of your chihuahuas that you have here today, because I was going to drive them from LA to Minnesota, because LA to Montana, because in Montana, small dogs they were getting adopted so quickly because there's no small dogs there. And so as a 23-year-old, I rented an RV, had never driven an RV before. I don't even know why they let me rent this thing. But me and a friend, we rented an RV, and we took all of the chihuahuas up to Montana. But when I was at that shelter pulling all of these dogs, Ferris showed up, and his owner dropped him off, and they said, we found this dog as a stray. It was definitely their dog, and it was a tiny little puppy Ferris and Ferris's mom. And I heard them talking at the front desk, and they were like, oh, we have to euthanize this puppy. He's in pain. And I overheard them, and then I kind of got involved and was like, this dog's not in pain. Like, something more is going on with him. Like, I'll take him right now if you'll let me. And I kind of had to jump through hoops, but I ended up being able to take him that day. And Ferris got adopted out several times from me and would always get returned.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, he was too difficult. He was, because he was incontinent, people would be like, oh, he's too much work. And he came back to me like 3 times. And then finally by the 3rd time, he was a year old. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep this little guy. He's super cool. I'll figure it out. And I've had him ever since.
Hey, he's triple OG. That's awesome.
He's the coolest dog. Like, you have a story about Ferris?
Yes, I do. Yes. If you're gonna have your nice shoes, don't be around Ferris because he'll run you over. He loves to run his shoes over.
For people that don't know, Ferris is paraplegic, basically. Yeah, we're gonna have a picture when you started talking about him. We'll have a picture pop up, basically. But he's got some wheels in his back, 2 legs, basically.
He loves to run people over, and he's a good human mover. That's for sure.
He is not afraid to move a person.
Oh, nah. He got some wheels.
I think that was one of the first dogs I've ever worked at Caesars.
Chapo.
He was also the belle of the ball at our TCW. He stole the show because you brought him, and we were students at the same TCW, you and I, and Michael Burke. We'll put a picture of him as well. But what do you call it? And you brought him, and everybody fell in love with him, and through him, we fell in love with you as well because we knew how amazing you are.
It was so fun to have him there because I used to always just tell people, like, these dogs are in wheelchairs, but stop feeling sorry for them. Like, motivate them to do fun things in life. Like, they can do everything else every other dog can do. Sometimes Ferris needs like a little extra help from me, but like, let them live happy lives. Stop feeling sorry for them. And it was so fun to have him at that TCW because, like, they were like, oh, here's how you ride dogs on bikes. And I remember being on a bike and being like, oh, my dog can do it too. And then, like, sheep herding, I was like, oh, my dog can do that too. Like, whatever. Yeah, he can do everything, and it was just so fun. Like, I
remember watching him go up that mountain in the back, and everyone was just like, oh, my God, this guy is just killing it. He was just nonstop uphill, just no like backward stepping at all. He's a forward little guy.
Such a crazy little puppy because he's a Jack Russell Terrier mix, and he had so much energy when he was a little guy. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot. Like, I don't know how to exercise him. And then I got him a wheelchair. The very first time he got put into a wheelchair, you put him in, strap him in. Usually dogs are like really unsure and they don't want to move at first. They're kind of figuring out. Ferris just took off running. And I'm like, oh shit, like, you got to catch up to him. But he was like confident from day one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that where he got his name Turbo from? After you put the chair on him?
Yeah, because he would go so fast. He would just take off and go. Like,
yeah, he's a fast little guy on his 2 wheels. So, at what age did he get his wheels?
He was probably like 6 or 7 months old.
So he's had him, so like no wonder he was good with them because he's a pro with them. He'll do turns, he'll flip over, he'll do 4x4,
he'll like drift too. He'll be running and drifting and then like keep going.
Like you gotta tell him, bro. We know you could do everything, but don't.
Hopefully, hopefully you have. If you have some video of it, we'll post it right now of him drifting.
My archives, I might have something of him. Yeah, I used to love that little guy. Yeah, I still love him. But hey, talking about your dogs, let's talk about Freddie Mercury. 350,000 followers. How did he do it? What's going on?
Show the shirt real quick.
Yeah, Doriam. Before we started, I was telling Sid, I was like, oh, hopefully someone has Freddie's shirt on.
Come on, you know I do my research.
I honestly don't own a Freddie Mercury shirt. I'm sad to say I didn't. I need to get one.
Bobby.
So. Do you? All right. Nice.
Medium, large,
large. I'm large.
No, I'm a little upset, Angela. I'm a little upset.
I'll pay for it. I don't want Doriam to
send the invoice for that after.
Like
send you the link.
I had to pay shipping, and Bobby's just gonna get one.
Nah, I'll pay shipping.
I'll pay stickers for you, Doriam.
Everything.
Hey, that's true. I got stickers all over the place in my van. So I always thinking about Freddie. But yeah, so what's up with him? I mean, like, could you tell me a little bit before he passed? Was his movement that big? Like, I mean, I just seen the other day, I was blown away. Like he left a big mark.
Freddie was like the most special little dog, and when I first got her, I was just like, I didn't know I was going to keep her, but I got her, and she was like super sick. She had pneumonia, and then she just started to get better. Like she was this tiny little thing too, and I'm like, what is this? It doesn't even look like a dog, you know? Like she was just this crazy.
You're like, damn.
Yeah. And she was a Chihuahua mix, for those who don't know. She weighed like 4 pounds. She was missing half of her bottom jaw. She had extra teeth. That's why she was named Freddie Mercury. She had 2 rows of teeth.
We'll put up a picture. We're going to show a couple of pics of her.
Okay. But just this like crazy looking little Chihuahua. And I thought she was the cutest thing. And I remember, I think it was like Christmas Eve, and I was home with a ton of dogs. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to make an Instagram page for her. I don't know if anyone's going to follow her, but we'll just make one, and she's cute, and I have a ton of photos, so I'll start sharing. And I started the page, and very quickly it jumped to like 10,000 followers, and I was like, oh shit. Like,
so it was off the top, boom. He touched it.
Very quickly. Like people just loved her. And it was just, I think because she looked so different, and the way that I portrayed the page was just like, I wanted to be very like loving and accepting of things that are different, you know?
She was a very joyful dog.
She was so just always happy. And feisty too, you know, and she was tiny.
Like to show that just because she like looked special didn't mean you couldn't treat her like a dog, and she could have a somewhat normal life and everything. And you kind of make people feel better when they can see like, oh my God, that dog is struggling, but it's living like a better life than I am right now. I could struggle and live a better life. You know what I mean? It's very inspiring.
Definitely. I think it was a page for me to like promote just acceptance of people, no matter who they are or what they look like, you know? And very shortly after I started the page, the Dodo reached out to me, and they wanted to do a story of Freddie. And so we recorded one, it got posted, and it got very quickly like 70 million views. Like it went viral. And I was like, oh my God, because with that, her page just blew up. And then also someone named Rocky Kanaka also did a lot of YouTube videos with me, and that blew her page up as well. But it just was like all this attention on her, to the point where we actually had celebrities reaching out. We had someone from Queen reach out. Jerry Lee Lewis reached out, was a fan. Demi Moore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then Demi Moore, I actually got to go and meet her and go to her house and bring Freddie over there and hang out with her and her daughters. Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's super cool. Like having Freddie just led me to so many crazy opportunities that are in my life now. A lot of them I don't talk about. Some of them I can't even talk about. But it's just like Freddie brought so much into my life. Without me, like I didn't know that any of that was going to happen. It was really insane.
Newsflash: you brought a lot into Freddie's life as well. Don't think that was only one sided. Okay.
Imagine that dog with anybody else. I don't know. Like I think somebody could have done it, but not many.
It was just like,
I think it landed with the perfect person.
Thank you. I like
any dog in Angela's care is in perfect care, right?
Thank you.
Would you say that Freddie Mercury is the one of all the dogs you've dealt with? Because you've been doing this almost 3 decades, maybe?
A long time.
Two and a half.
Would you say that he's the one that's left the biggest impact on your life?
Yeah, definitely. And when I lost her, like it was very devastating. I've only ever lost one dog, like without me having to euthanize them, you know, like passing away naturally. And I woke up in the morning and I kept 3 days before Freddie passed, she was having some medical complications and had to get a feeding tube put in. And I kept 3 days before she passed, I kept having dreams about her passing away. So I knew it was going to happen. And then on the 3rd day I woke up and she had passed on her own. And that was just like, ever since then, it's been just challenging for me to like post on social media or, you know, just do a lot of those things because it just kind of like, it took part of me, you know? It was really hard for me.
A lot of motivation too, I'm sure. It took some motivation out of me.
Yeah, and I was a caretaker for her for 5 years. Like, she couldn't even eat on her own. You couldn't just like put food on a bowl and put it in front of her. I had to literally lay on the ground next to her and hand feed her, and she cost me like so much money in medical bills, which is fine, like totally fine. I mean, one of her medical bills was like 20 grand, so when she had an issue, it was like a really big problem, a really big emergency. And a lot of vets like never really knew how to treat her. So thank God I had the vet tech background that I did, because I was able to like advocate for her a lot more and kind of get ahead of things. But she was so much work for me, which I loved, and when I would travel, she even came with me. I was not without this dog for 5 years. Like, she was always with me.
Yeah, I'm sure you go through a lot after something like that type of caregiving.
Yeah.
If you had to like estimate, just a rough guess, how many dogs do you think have gone through your hands from like some sort of rescue situation to an adoption?
Thousands, a lot.
Wow.
Just so many. Like, I don't even know how many. When I was 22, I started my own rescue. That was when I was living in Santa Barbara. And at the time, I also worked at a no-kill shelter. And so I would foster for them. I would foster for my rescue. I didn't have any boundaries for myself. I didn't know how to say no. So I was saying yes to like every dog. And I just like, so many dogs were coming through my house and getting adopted out. And just, I was taking on like a lot of mom and puppy litters. And so, it added up very quickly. But there's been a lot of dogs.
Gosh, yeah.
I think all those dogs going through, though, is what taught you how to be so fantastic, though, with them. You know what I mean? Each dog taught you a little something here or there, whether subconsciously or consciously. You know what I mean? And you picked it up, and now you are like magic with dogs. Like, seriously.
Thank you.
You have like the Snow White quality where all the animals, not just the dogs, but they all follow you, like the squirrels and the birds. We all see it. Don't think it doesn't happen.
I was laughing at this last TCW because it's like, we all know that like Todd doesn't like to have dogs there who have separation anxiety from their owners, or like dogs who are going to be searching for their owners, things like that, like that's always been an ongoing thing. And so this last time that I was there, like all of these dogs are like, looking at, and I'm like, I swear I don't know them. Like I just met these dogs yesterday. I don't know who they are, but I'm like trying to walk through groups, and all these dogs are like, there she is. And I'm like, I don't know what's creating this. I'm so sorry. But yeah,
it's your aura. It's your aura. They always follow it. So you just have to pass by them, and they're already, well, let me follow her.
Hey, you know what you need to do?
Go ahead.
Hey, you know what you need to do is next time you're there, when the fosters are dropping them off, you just have to look from a distance, and you're just like from a camera. You go, yeah, that dog's good. You just put them over there. Yeah. You gotta like you can't be their first association. Like, it's the truth. Right when they see you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. She's definitely got that Snow White animal following quality about her. So that's definitely been established. Tell us about this CBD product right here.
Free to Be CBD. Well, how'd you get that name? That's what I want to know.
And what's going on with it? Give us a little explanation, if you would.
So this is Freddie, and she actually took CBD every day. And kind of the inspiration behind starting this company was to help dogs. So part of the proceeds from this company, well, pretty much all the proceeds from this company, goes back to helping dog rescues. So the profits that I get from this goes back to helping the fosters that I have. And then also part of it gets donated to dog rescues. But I just wanted to have like something that is helpful for dogs, and CBD, especially for older dogs.
How could people that are watching this, how can they get a hold of some?
They can go to freetobe.store. Otherwise, if they follow me on Instagram, my handle is @deservingdogs, and I have a link in my bio that takes you to like everything that I do. It takes you to the CBD, takes you to the Freddie shirts that we make, and just like everything that I have going on.
And that's where I got this one from, Angela. That link you're talking about, I followed it.
Thank you, Doriam.
Good job. You're a great follower, my friend. You're awesome. You know how to follow that.
Doriam has always bought and supported stuff.
Link in the bio. Everybody knows that, guys. Everybody knows that.
I'm not as good. I'm not as savvy online.
Sweater.
Yeah, and Ben has like an OG.
Long, old. It's actually there's like no color on. It's just speckled now. I wear it too much.
No, this is retro. I had to bring it out, old school new stock, but I didn't want to mess with it. But I bought it just out for the podcast. I don't like to let the sun hit it. I don't want to get faded. I don't want the design to get. It's going back in the Ziploc bag that it came, Angela.
He's saving it for collectors for future generations so that he could sell it
you never know.
for a great amount.
Yeah, I might be in pawn shops one day trying to collect it. Like, hey, how much? Special edition.
That's awesome.
It'll be famous. A famous shirt.
Yeah.
Hey, but what's up with the free to be? Like, is that something you wanted to be free for everybody, or like how did that name came about?
More so like freedom to be yourself. Just
Freedom to be.
you know, because the whole idea of Freddie was like acceptance. I used to travel around a lot with Freddie. Like we would do meet and greets. I remember this one time I bought an RV out in New York, and Freddie and two of my friends, we all flew out there to New York, and we drove the RV back to California. And on the way home, I did meet and greets, and it was really cool. And the meet and greet, we did one in Dallas, Texas, and like 100 people showed up, and they were waiting in over an hour-long line just to get a photo with me and Freddie. Like people made signs, like it was crazy the amount of people that loved this
like at a
dog.
hotel, a gas station, where at? Like
We would meet at like restaurants or like breweries or just like whoever I would have like a friend in whatever area I did the meet and greet. So like Art, in Dallas, he kind of told me where to go. And so we went to the spot and there were so many people and it was just so cool. But Freddie was just
Art.
like,
I'm wearing his shirt right now. So shout out to Art.
Definitely.
Dallas, a friend of ours.
Shout out to Art.
Watch your guys' first guest.
First human guest. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Can you tell us how Freddie got his name and why it is associated with acceptance?
So I had no idea what to name Freddie, but I used to live at a dog rescue, and I worked with this guy named Joel. His name is Joel Rocky. He has a rescue called Camp Golden Years. If you know him, you know how funny he is. He's just like a super, super funny guy. And he was walking around with Freddie and just came up with the name, was like Freddie Mercury. Or at first we were like Frida Mercury, to be kind of funny. And Freddie Mercury's just stuck. And then it just like, we had so many people in the music industry reach out to us because of the name.
And so when Queen reached out to you, what was that all about? How did that feel? Like, I mean, that was pretty crazy.
I mean, even like, Jerry Lee Lewis's manager was like, yeah, Jerry's a fan. Like, we would love to meet you. Like, all these people wanted to meet Freddie. But Queen's people reached out because they were like, oh, if you need, if you're going to do a fundraiser, we'll send you a guitar. And I'm like, what? Like, just so many people with so much like love and just wanting to help. And yeah, that was like really unexpected and really, really cool.
I think
That's
when
awesome.
people see the help you want to give, they want to help as well, and I think that it's contagious. And so you're an inspiration in that way, and I think that we all appreciate that about you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Hey, Angela.
it feels. Yeah.
Hey, so Freddie Mercury's account, the 350,000 people that are watching him. Now you promote pure dogs that are available for adoption. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, pretty much. I post on her page just adoptable dogs now.
That's awesome. Still,
Awesome. Yeah, man. That's
still
great.
using the platform. That's good.
Yeah,
his movement's still alive and it's still continuing.
Yeah, I mean, she came from a shelter, and why not promote more shelter dogs and try and get more dogs out? Because there's other Freddies that are out there. Like everyone loved her so much, and there's other Freddies who exist
I
out
apologize
there.
for calling her a he earlier.
Everybody
I said
does.
it more than
Me too, I do it all the time, but I'm thinking in my head like, yeah, her. But it's because it's like, come on, you set everybody up with that Freddie, but it's like a female. Like JoJo's dog, she's got little Eddie,
Eddie, yeah.
Eddie, and it's a female, but it's like it's confusing already. But
You were ahead of the game in the whole gender neutral thing, making us a little bit like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to call it, or her actually, or they them.
we love her. We love her. Pretty much. Still
Shout out.
Look, here's a picture right there.
Oh, I actually reached out to some friends and mentors of everybody on this show, and I asked them if you could ask Angela a question, what would you ask them? And Lisa Porter, we'll put up a picture of Lisa. She asked that what was your first experience with rescue, and what did you learn through the process that allowed you to be such an amazing advocate and trainer for at-risk rescue dogs?
Oh, I miss Lisa. I hope she's listening. Lisa is so awesome.
God bless Lisa. She is a great mentor of mine. One of the first trainers I really worked with.
I'm just thinking about how cool Lisa is, and I forgot her question.
Oh, I can reread it to you. It's
my
basically
first experience in rescue.
Yeah. Talk about your first experience with rescue and what you learned through the process that allowed you to be such an amazing advocate for and trainer for at-risk dogs.
My first experience, I was on Facebook and I got tagged in a photography page. And it was this photographer who used to go and take pictures of dogs in shelters. And she tagged me in one picture, and it was a little chihuahua with little deformed legs, and her name was Peggy Sue. And it said, Peggy Sue is going to die in 2 days if no one comes and gets her. And I had just moved to Santa Barbara. I was working as a vet tech. I knew nothing about rescue. And I was like, oh my God, Peggy Sue's going to die in 2 days? Like, I'll go.
Man, got it.
Gotcha.
So,
pulling on those emotional heartstrings. I could just hear Sarah
they got me.
McLachlan's song being played.
I drove from Santa Barbara to the San Pedro Harbor Shelter. And while I was there, they're like, oh, you know, Peggy Sue, yeah, she was on the youth list, but also little Muffin over here was too. So could you take her also? And I was like, oh my God, Muffin, let me just take you both. And
Obviously, I'm here for this.
Right?
Muffin's going to die in a couple days too, so you better get on.
All the way down here.
It was a very obvious choice, so I took Peggy Sue and Muffin, and I lived in an apartment where it was like no pets policy. You are not even allowed to have pets. So I was like sneaking these dogs into my apartment. And yeah, I found them both homes, and I was like, wow, this is easy and also very fulfilling, and both of them didn't die.
That's
and
awesome.
I just like dove into the rescue world. I started it when I was 22. I started a rescue when I was 22 in Santa Barbara, and the first year I had just moved to Santa Barbara. Nobody knew who I was. And the first year of starting the dog rescue, I was nominated for Nonprofit of the Year and won, and it just exploded into this huge thing. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. But then, like, you get just kind of, like, overwhelmed with it, and my whole social life was gone. I was in a relationship at the time, and he was like, this is way too much for me, and he left. And it was like everything became dog rescue to the point where it was a little bit like unhealthy just because there was so much work to be done. And then I kind of like was like, oh wow, maybe I need to have some boundaries for myself and not be so involved in my work, because I lived at a dog rescue, I worked at a dog rescue, I had a dog like it was all dog rescue,
Hey, 6 years later, he goes, maybe I need some boundaries.
yeah.
I
6 years
think
later,
everybody.
exactly.
I think everybody that ends up taking dogs into their homes for either professional or rescue at some point has to like set some boundaries, because we just end up loving these dogs so much that if we don't set the boundaries, we won't have any time for ourselves, which means we won't be able to help the dogs properly if we're not like fulfilled ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a lot better at that now, just like being able to be a human on the weekends and doing what I love during the week, but like having that boundary of, let's like slow it down a little bit, and you don't have to live with 27 dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can happen quickly.
27 dogs is a little bit much.
Yeah, I've lived with up to 27 dogs before, and it was like I couldn't even leave to go grocery shopping. It was like just walking every day and managing the pack, and it was too much. It was way too much.
Yeah. Hey, earlier we were like, I was on Christmas and I was by myself with a bunch of dogs. I was like, shit, she done that a lot of times.
Yeah, that's happened a lot of times. I mean, I couldn't even go home for Christmas most years because I had too many dogs. Like, I didn't get to see my family.
Yeah, that's just I even get stuck in that boat where I don't know, the last Christmas I haven't boarded dogs or this or that, but for me, I don't know. It's for me, it's not as much. Is helping the dog, but it's also like helping the people too. And you get kind of caught in these people where I'm sure people you rescue dogs to, I'm sure you boarded them, or people that had a dog that only did really well at your place or something like that. You can get caught up with clients real quick.
Yeah, sure. Well, like the main thing for me now is like it just happened. I just got a dog today because of this. It's like, you know, these rescues pull the dogs and then they put them in with fosters, but then the fosters are struggling so bad with them. Like, oh, this dog, you know, it's so reactive or whatever behavioral issue it is. And I'm like, oh, I know I can help that dog. So it just makes it so hard in my head because I'm like, yeah, easy. Like I can help it. Or, yeah, I know how much work that's going to be. And I know this person isn't capable of doing it, not because they don't want to, but because they don't have the information. And so I just like say yes a lot. And, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, that's one thing I think I can talk to you about maybe opening up a rescue or going in something in that route because I'd love to help people, but I feel like rescues are hard people to help, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure maybe you have a different experience or definitely more experience with them, but they're not.
Yeah.
They don't seem to. At least by me, they don't seem to like what I have to say or the free advice I'd give.
Yeah,
I think the rescue world deals with a lot of emotional people a lot of times, and that's kind of where there's a lot of struggle. And that's what's great about you, Angela, is you have the emotion to help, but you don't get caught up in the emotion so much that it becomes a hindrance. You know what I mean? And I think that's a struggle.
Rescue in itself, for me to wake up every morning and have the amount of people reach out to me every day asking if I can take their dogs, and I'm not even a rescue, I'm just a foster. Like, but to have the amount of people say, can you take my dog, or I'm going to euthanize them, or, you know, to see like who's getting euthanized every day in the shelter, like it is overwhelming and you cannot be emotional about it. Like you have to come from, you know, the intellectual world and just be very like level-headed and instinctual. Like you cannot be going into this emotionally because you'll be drained every day.
That's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, and you almost have to like shut your emotions off, because I used to do a lot of hospice fostering, and I would take dogs who were already like really sick and dying in the shelters, and their owners just leave them, which I think is really shitty.
P.S.
Yeah, right. Like,
public announcement: if you're an owner, don't leave your dog like that, please.
I mean, just go to the vet and euthanize the dog with them. You know, like don't leave them confused and dying at the shelters. But I used to take a lot of those dogs, and I had to stop because it was like so hard. And you know, you're not only like dealing with whatever the human side of it did, because you can't really feel that when you pick up the dog. You don't want to feel angry when you're picking up a new dog. You want it to be like, oh, like loving and happy, right? But yeah, just like the people side of it. And yes, there are so many emotional people who are in rescue, and they're in rescue to fulfill some sort of void within themselves, I think. And those people are really hard to work with. I only work with a very small handful of rescues. I've been put into situations where, just like you said, Ben, sometimes they don't like what you have to say, or maybe your techniques or whatever it is. But there's a lot of really toxic people in rescue, which sucks because we should all really be working together and just like helping each other, because there's such a big problem right now.
Exactly.
Right there,
there's no time for hate or negative energy at all, and I don't think it's just in the rescue world, but just in general in the across the board in dog world. There's just too much negativity, too much putting people on blast, or this person's doing this wrong, and I think it's just a big waste of time.
I know that's something too where I know that I don't want to be negative towards rescues, and I know there is great rescues. I know there's a lot of people that are dog trainers, knowledgeable in dogs, like psychology, or just knowledgeable in dogs that are doing a good job too. But I do feel like there is a heavier hand in the emotional world. But it's a really quick, slippery slope from we're talking shit about rescues to we're just wanting to vent maybe about rescues. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many cool rescues and people out there, and I am so grateful that I know a lot of them. But there are some people out in rescue who are doing really awesome stuff, and those are the people who should be getting the support. You know, it's hard for me. This is coming up in my head, so I have to say it. But there's some people who are out there involved in rescue. Some women, but a lot of men, and they just love the feeling that they get from getting all of the attention on social media because they rescue, and that is really hard for me to kind of navigate through the rescue world of the people who are doing it because they like the way that it feels, right? The people who have some kind of void, or the people who are actually doing it for the animals because they just want to make it better for them. And so the rescue world can just be a really, really weird place to navigate sometimes.
Yeah, hey, I feel like you do a lot of what you do and just kind of who you are for the betterment of just what's around you, whether it's people, dogs, environment. And yeah, I think that's how most people should be.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel really fulfilled just like helping. I'm a person of service. Like even being a caretaker to Freddie was like very fulfilling of me. Like I just love to like help and make people happy and make animals happy and just like be happy, you know?
I think awesome. When people start like making it about themselves rather than the animal, that's where the problem happens. Like if you're trying to look at how good I am for, you know, rescuing this dog and putting everything on social media, it detracts from the actual act, in my opinion. Like, or even like when you're watching social media and it's like, oh, I'm going and helping these homeless people and this and that, and it's like, great if you're doing it, and I'm not trying to say don't do it, but when you put it on social media, I feel like you're kind of taking a little bit something away from it. Like it's like look at me, and I don't know. I just don't feel that's
also such a fine line, though. I think about that all the time. I'm sure Angela has to deal with that. Is walking that line of, okay, I want to let you know about what I'm doing, and actually it's for the better of everything around me. And then I'm sure that's a fine line.
Yeah, I wasn't from my perspective.
No, you're not, Bobby. It's just the line.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I was trying to make sure that, like I was saying, like I'm not saying Angela does that at all, but I was just saying that. It's terrible that has to happen, that people do that, like, you know what I mean? But you're right, there is a fine line between like, hey, look at what I'm doing to help these dogs or help this homeless person, rather than look at me, look at this, like, you know what I mean? Look at how good I am, rather than look at what I'm trying to do for this dog or this person, whatever.
Well, I think in today's times, like with social media, and not just in rescues, but in anything that anybody's doing out there, they're always making it seem like, oh, I'm doing this. But like me, I guess I get what you're saying about there's a lot of fraudsters out there, but in reality, the dogs need all the help they can get. So even if these people are doing it and they're feeding off people, just like those Sarah McLachlan commercials or whatever, like how they make you feel sorry because they need to get that money, like. I think, hey, whatever, you know, we live in a time where everybody's doing that type of stuff on the internet. So to me, it's like, as long as the main point is that dogs are getting help, that, and even for all those new rescues that are maybe not doing it that right, at some point they're rescuing dogs doing things that people don't want to do. And a lot of people like to talk and say, oh yeah, but it's hard to take a dog from beginning and get them rehomed and like live with them and stuff. A lot of people, they just want to find that Angela and be like, hey, take my dog here. You know, everybody's doing that. Everybody knows how to take a dog somewhere, but not a lot of people know how to take care for that dog.
But there's a difference between a person that, hey, puts themselves on camera, look at how great I'm doing with this dog, and then as soon as the camera's off, is not doing anything for that dog anymore.
Well, they're just, that could be it.
That's what I'm more like. These people are not really for the dog. They're more like, look at me rather than look at what I'm trying. And Angela is the complete opposite of that. She doesn't even want to go on social media. I'm glad that she came on this podcast because I know that you've actually become a lot better about being shy in the time I've known you. I feel like you've definitely blossomed, especially this last year, I would say.
I don't know about Angela being shy or not. I seen her get crazy on the dance floor. Her and Sid blow up the party. Like, they shut the Ben's waiting. They shut it down. Like, they had to tell them after everybody was gone, they were still dancing.
Hey, we got a clip of that too.
They're trying to get them out. Like, hey, party's over. They're still going 100%. They didn't give a fuck. So
I don't get out very often. So when I do, I have fun.
You know what's funny too, Bobby? Kind of along the lines of like, okay, you know, you post for fame, power, money, right? Let's just say. I had a client the other day tell me they're like, you're doing they are big clients of mine. They really like what I do, and they go, you're kind of doing a disservice to yourself and the community by not posting. They're like, you got to start posting to help people. Like, you want to help people do this, do that, and you're really about, like, for me personally, and doing what I do with dogs is to help grow the community, help grow just, the Midwest, whatever you want to look at it. And she's like, what are you doing? Why do you not post about this? And I literally don't like posting for this is the sole reason of, like, of kind of what Bobby's talking about. So it's a weird thing. I don't know exactly.
No, yeah. It happens a lot because everybody has the need to feel like, look at everybody, look what I'm doing. That's what we live in the time. So it's kind of hard to distinguish those people that are really like trying to educate people and those people that want the attention. But to me, what I'm saying is at the end of the day, long as dogs are getting helped, I don't care. And I don't care if I agree or disagree with what that person, the way they're doing it. Let's just help dogs in any way. And that's what I want to promote for everybody. So let's just stop the negativity of whatever it is. And let's just say, let's just help out dogs for whatever we can.
As long as the dogs are getting helped out, yes, that's correct. But I'm sorry, go ahead,
Anthony. That I want to like shed a little bit of light on, because I know, some of your guys' followers, maybe not in the rescue world, but there are people out there who are just doing this for money. A perfect example is something called the Chandler 55. And if you're in rescue, you know what that is. But there was this lady who was in Arizona, and she had like 55.
Angela, could you say it all over? Because the important information, it broke all over. It didn't come out. We want to get it
garbled up. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, there was this lady who was living in Chandler, Arizona, and it's called the Chandler 55. And if you're in dog rescue, you've heard of her. But she kept taking all these special needs animals because she was getting a bunch of donations for them and making a ton of money off of it. But the animals were actually in really bad condition, and the Humane Society just had to go in and took all of her animals, took her mom that was living there. Like, it was disgusting. Like, dogs.
Okay, yeah. Totally not down with that type of help.
Yeah, so like, you kind of have to like dig a little bit more, and you don't really know someone on social media until you've met them in person and see what they do. So it's just like this weird world of, is this a real person? Are they not? Like, what do I look for? But I felt the same thing. Yeah. Like, I don't even like putting myself on social media. I have to kind of like force myself to. But yeah, it's just this like weird, you just have to be really careful with social media and who you donate to, if you're donating to dog rescues.
The best people are the people that like you want to follow, but they don't want to be like the leaders in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you're that kind of person in a sense that like you don't want to be out there, but everybody is drawn to you because you're an amazing person. You know what I mean?
She needs to be out there too. It's important. Very important.
Her movement is dogs. It's not Angela, but you can't leave it out. Her energy's too big.
What was so cool was the last time I thought was when Caesar introduced you, and then I think Todd said something to you, and Caesar doesn't say much. He always says, and she brings the angels. I'm always like, that's bad. He doesn't say dogs. He's like, Angela, and his face is so serious. He's like, and she brings the angels. It's like, I don't even know if he's actually talking about dogs even.
Hey, Angela, now that we're kind of touching on that subject, talking about angels, what do you want your legacy to be when you leave this planet?
That's a great question.
I just want to be known for helping as many dogs as I possibly can, and also inspiring other people to help dogs, to adopt special needs dogs, like just to work a little bit harder with your dog and be really dedicated, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there who, when things get hard, they kind of give up. And I just want to be the one that inspires people to like stay dedicated and to help dogs and animals really. But just a lot of just make the world a little bit more positive than when you came into it.
I would say you've accomplished that mission so far. Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
People probably just need to try a little harder and commit in like most things. That's why I know that we all love dogs and dog psychology, because it's like, oh wait, this is actually just how you deal with your shit.
Yes.
Your dog's just your representation of your inside of your house, or your mind, or this or that. So, like,
how hard are you willing to work when things get tough? Like, how committed are you to things?
Anything.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Angela, cool. Quick question. And what do you think that we should do for the future? Like, what do you think is a good idea for us to plan for the dogs that are still being bred for the future? Like, because it's like something that's not really talked about. Like, it's all these problems are caused because it's something that's unregulated. But what do you think that we need to do as humans to reprogram the dog for the future?
Yeah, so I'm actually working on a really big project right now, and I haven't really told anyone about it, so you guys can hear about it first.
Exclusive.
Exclusive right here. So I think that spay neuter and people being aware of spaying and neutering pets is very much lacking right now. I think that funds for spay neuter are lacking. If you call a vet hospital right now and ask how much is it to spay or neuter my dog, it is an insane price. Like most people cannot afford it. So basically what I'm going to be doing with a team of people is fundraising for a spay neuter mobile clinic. And we're going to go around LA and we are going to offer free spaying and neutering. So that's like the biggest thing that I'm working on. It's probably the most like proud of a project I'm going to be accomplishing. But yeah, spay neuter. Oh my God. And training too, like learning how to train your dog. There's so many people who are putting dogs in shelters or just having dogs do really terrible things and being put to sleep because they don't have any training. Like nobody is fulfilling them and working with them and researching what breed to get, before they adopt. And like people just need to stop buying from breeders for a little bit, unless you're buying, something very specific to like a service dog or something like that, or some kind of very specific working dog. But if people could just stop buying dogs from breeders for like a few years so we can catch up with the pet overpopulation issue, I think that is very important.
I think it's going to be possible people to stop buying from breeders. But hey, do you know what I think you could do? I think you could go somehow. You climb Capitol Hill and you I think breeders should be paying a shit ton of money to become breeders. Get licensed, get educated, and pay.
Yeah. Definitely, it should be something that just gotta be governed. And it's a free for all. I think that's the only way we're gonna be able to stop future generations to having all these problems. Because it's a crazy, ridiculous field to be in because people pay up for their dogs. So we need to regulate the amount of dogs that they're going to be out there to help out the overpopulation.
I just think it's you're chasing your tail necessarily, no pun intended, with the problem of people, like you're saying, not being educated on spay and neuter, and then they're not realizing when moms and dads or cousins, and then dogs that can be more difficult or just more intense just have more intensity about them, whatever it is. I see that when dogs are bred, they may not together, like a father and a daughter or something like that. The dogs don't look messed up or this or that, but like I just say, it's a German Shepherd. I saw this just recently, and I haven't done science behind this, but that dog had so much drive, and the drive, the excitement that the dog had, it was just way more intense than I've normally seen German Shepherds be, and it was the first for sure confirmed father daughter puppy.
Wow.
I just think that happens so much. I just think things of that nature, or just simply like two dogs that whatever breed they are, you shouldn't breed those dogs. They're not good pets.
Yeah,
we're gonna end up going
some good breeders.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
A lot of them are like accidental litters, or people who don't know what they're doing, or they're doing it for fun. Like, hey, let's breed our two dogs for fun. Like, no, please stop, everybody. Like, if you're not someone who is doing like x-rays on your dogs before you breed, and you're doing it for a very specific reason, like all the people who are making accidental litters like in their backyard is mainly what I'm talking about. And all that just needs to stop, just because people can't afford spay and neuter.
Hey, have you guys heard of the new craze of the miniature Rottweiler?
Oh God, no.
No way.
Gosh, I just saw one the other day.
We're gonna get
Hey, Pekingese Rottweiler though.
Oh God.
Pekingese Rottweiler. It looks just like a little miniature Rottweiler.
Let's not get them too popular, because everybody's watching this. They're gonna want to see what kind of dog that is. But Angela, best advice you ever got?
The best advice, definitely to create boundaries for myself. It's funny. I remember I was posting a lot of videos when I worked at a humane society, and I kept posting like very challenging dogs that I was working with, and my skill level it was more than the average person, but it was very low. But randomly, I had, which you all know who he is, someone named Lynn Boki reach out to me through social media because he was watching my videos. And he ended up inviting me to go to his house to do like video breakdown. And I was like, I don't know who you are, but sure. Like, I looked him up and it sounded like he was well known in the dog world, And I was like, I am just hungry for information. Yeah, but
we've brought him up several times. We love Lynn.
Yeah, Lynn's great. Like, I've learned so much from him over the years. But he was the first person who was like, what are you doing? Why do you have so many dogs in your house? Like, learn how to say no, And that just really stuck with me of just like, I have to have boundaries because if I don't, I'm doing a disservice to the dogs if I'm taking on like way too much work. And
awesome.
Yeah, that always stuck with me. It's just like, know when to say no and have boundaries for yourself so that you feel good about what you're doing and you're not getting burnt out.
So your best advice came from Lynn, basically.
What's that?
I said your best advice came from Lynn.
Yeah, damn it did.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome though. Yeah, because that's something that I noticed. I've known you for a while. That I have noticed about you that you have more balance. Before you were just like you said, you wouldn't say no, and you would want to help everybody. But yeah, in this world, no matter rescue, like I tell you, dog training, dog daycare, whatever, there's always work. So it's really easy to get caught up and just say yes, and forget. Like, damn, I need a break and I need to settle down and take time for myself. And it happens a lot, I think, in this industry.
Yeah,
I think it's a daily discipline for me, at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every day.
I mean, I'm like very grateful. I got into a really, really awesome, which you guys have met him, but a really awesome relationship a little over a year ago. And because of that relationship, I really learned how to like balance out and, be a human and go do fun things on the weekends and just like not work 7 days a week.
Yeah, so, yeah. Shout out to Sid. Thank you, Sid. Yeah. Thank you.
I was saying that, like, definitely in this last year, you've kind of blossomed a little bit. That was my reference to Sid there.
Oh, I know.
Joy. Yeah. Joy. Her joy
had a lot of joy. Real quick, I wanted to ask you, how would you say you approach compatibility between you and a dog you're working with, or you and or the dog and some human you're trying to adopt the dog out to? What do you look for in compatibility from those?
As far as compatibility with me and a dog, if I know how to work those issues and I'm going to enjoy it, then I will say yes. If I'm not going to enjoy it, like I don't enjoy really pushy, overly excited puppies, so I won't take those on. They're not compatible with me. I have really soft energy. I love working with the really like scared and shy dogs. That's what I'm most compatible with. But as far as me personally, that's like it's a feeling, if I'm going to enjoy working with that dog or not. I don't enjoy working with all dogs. And as far as like
that's
humans,
very important to say and to hear, for people to hear that you don't enjoy working with all dogs, and that's okay that you don't, and that other people don't as well. Like, find the stuff that you do enjoy and really dive into it, and it'll help you thrive more, and it'll make you want to do more. Right?
Yeah, I was notorious for that. Like, I would take on dogs beyond my skill level just because I wanted to learn and help as much as I could, but I wasn't helping those dogs, and that was when I was younger. And nowadays, like, just because I can work with a dog doesn't mean I want to. I've been in this for long enough to know like what's fun for me and what's not. But as far as like people wanting to adopt a dog, I usually ask them, about their daily lifestyle. Like, how much are they already walking? If it's nothing, like, you probably don't want to adopt a German Shepherd or a high drive dog that's going to need, a few hours of exercise and things every day. So you really have to look at like what's realistic for you, what you're already kind of doing in your life, and what's feasible for you. If you don't have a lot of dog experience, you don't want to get a high energy dog. It's going to be too much work for you. It's not going to be fun for you. So it really isn't. Like, you're going to have to be trying to figure things out, and that dog's going to get frustrated with you. And you just have to choose something, not by how cute it is or what it looks like or what breed you've always wanted, but by what's truly compatible for you and your skill level and your energy level and your family.
Yes, I think that's important.
I think that's a beautiful answer.
Yeah. Good information, really. I probably should take years to learn that. Nice, good info.
Do you have any questions for us, Angela? Anything that you just are dying to know? We have answers.
Oh. How did you guys start this podcast? Like, what was the inspiration behind that?
Bobby came to us crying one day, and he's just like, "Guys, we need to hang out more. And I don't see you guys enough." And I said, "It's all business for me, Bobby." So we came up with this. No,
So the podcast
Now
is
I
the
pay
easiest
Ben.
way.
I pay Ben to be on the podcast because he's all business, and I have to
I'm
make sure that
joking.
he's compensated for his time and energy. And no, we just pay him in love and affection because
That's
we
cute.
love Ben. Yeah. It was. I don't know what got into me. I just was like, I need to create a podcast. I need to do something creative with my life. I have this energy that needs to come out. And so I was like, I was kind of too scared to kind of do it on my own. So I was like, if I have Doriam over here and Ben, my boy, helping me out, I think I could do anything. So,
Aw.
yeah, that was the inspiration. So, and I'm so grateful that these two guys decided to join me on this little
Well, I
adventure.
came because I thought I was gonna get paid. He said, "Oh, come down, we're gonna be paying it." But I'm like, "All right," but I didn't know the payment was that love and kindness he was talking about. I was like, "Oh, that's money," but
It's worth so much more than money, bro.
I'm like, "Damn."
Money can be made again, bro. 'Cause love is something that is just.
I
That's what
do love
Ben
your
said he's all
guys'
business,
like.
but
I
what's
do
that?
love
Say it
your
again.
guys' logo.
Thank you.
It's like you guys,
It's a
obviously.
cool little-
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, shout out. That's Mono, Apollo, and Akota, and then
yeah. We have Chapo here today.
what was the feeling?
He's our fill-in for Mono, but yeah, it was Adam helped me. I kind of came up with like the thought of the logo, and then Adam really helped me kind of put it together in a sense. And yeah, we had like a steampunk one. We'll put up a picture of this one, but I don't think Dorian so much appreciated, so we ended up coming up with this one. But yeah,
We'll do
I
an
really thought,
exclusive
I was like,
drop
the
on that.
steampunk one is dope. And
Dorian knew.
they were like, no, I don't think so.
We'll put it up, and you guys can vote on it.
No, it's okay.
Take a
I
vote.
love the one we have now. I'm glad that the steampunk one didn't work because the one we have now is fantastic.
Like I don't even remember it being. I guess I said no. I don't remember the steampunk one, but I'll look into it, Bobby.
Well, I'm not making it up. You can ask Adam because
I
he worked.
remember that you gave me a couple of things, but I remember saying like no to the steampunk. Like, nah, we gotta go with this
No,
other
he
way.
said absolutely not. He said 100% no.
He right? Am I wrong? And he was like, I don't see us being very
I loved it, bro.
steampunk.
I love the steampunk. It was just Dorian.
Hey, did anyone catch that bus? The number of that bus that Ben just pushed Dorian under?
Yeah, whatever. Run over Dorian bus. That's what it was. Highway to run them over.
I also had these last couple questions. I outsourced to Todd Langston, a great friend of the show as well, who will hopefully become a future guest on. But he wanted to ask, for those people that like to follow you, how much does it cost to rescue the average dog for people that are considering that have medical issues compared to like one that doesn't have medical issues? What would like an average cost, like guesstimation?
I love this question because so often people are like, wow, that's the adoption fee for that dog. Why is it so high? And adoption fees really range. But for like the average dog coming out of the shelter who's not spayed or neutered, and for a rescue to do it, I would say it's probably like $400 or $500 for, exam, fecal, spay and neuter, like just the very basics that should be done. So it is very expensive. If you're getting a dog with medical issues, I personally have paid like up to 15 grand for a dog coming out of a shelter. So it can be like an insane amount. For me, like choosing, it's really all about like what kind of support you have behind that dog, and that kind of decides whether a rescue can take the dog or not.
And I guess for people, it just depends if they financially are capable of taking taking care of a dog that has how much money is going to cost X. There's money can't be an option necessarily to a degree, right?
Yeah, you definitely have to be like prepared financially if you're going to take something like that on. But rescues obviously have it a little bit easier because they're tax deductible and they can receive donations and all of that. So, but rescue is so expensive. Like, I'm not even a rescue, I'm just a foster, but the majority of my money goes to dogs.
Yeah, no, vet bills alone are just insane. So if you're like in this industry and you're trying to help a dog to get adopted, like it's not a cheap thing. So yeah, I'm glad that we've shed a little light on this situation.
I even have like a mobile groomer who comes to my house, and every time she comes, it's like $600, and that's not even for all of my dogs. But it's like once you own all of the dogs too, if you're adopting or keeping them, and even my foster dogs, like I get them groomed as well. But like everything is just so expensive for all of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, owning dogs, period.
And how about laundry for you? We know that I want to get a GoFundMe so we can get Angela the industrial size laundry machines that can clean all the sheets that she has to clean every week. Like we need 3 or 4 of them, because the amount of time she spends doing laundry for incontinent dogs and all the dog, like this woman is a saint. People, you guys should know Angela is the best, dude. So we should definitely get something for some industrial sized washing machines for you.
Oh, the laundry. I usually spend like $400-$500 a month at the laundromat. Yeah. It's a lot.
Too much. It's too
much. All of my money goes back to the dogs. Like, yeah. It's really funny too, because I used to have so many people on social media get mad at me if I would ever ask for like help financially. They'd be like, go get a real job. And I'm like, I would like to, but I can't because I'm home with the dogs all day and it's so expensive and I need help. But laundry it's an insane amount of money.
That's
not to mention too, like the stress of going to the laundromat. But if you think about, like, you're pulling in a wagon full of laundry covered in like pee and shit from incontinent dogs. When you have an incontinent dog, the urine does not smell like a regular dog. Like, it smells so bad, and it's just like embarrassing. You know, I'm trying to like shove it into the washers quickly before anyone walks by, and I close the doors quick, and like, it's just like the amount of anxiety it gives me to go to the laundromat is just like.
We need to get like Ellen involved. Ellen needs to come in and be like, we'll take care of your laundry every month.
Oh, forever. God. That would be amazing. Like laundry service. That'd be great.
We'll have to work on something.
Yeah, I agree. We need something for Ange. But, okay, well, it's been about an hour, and I think can we just say thank you to Angela for being an amazing guest, and we appreciate you so much. Thank you for your time and everything you do for the dogs.
Last random question, Angela. Do you believe in extraterrestrials?
Yes.
That's a random question.
Okay, peace out.
Hey, wait. One last one. Emerald tablets.
What?
Emerald tablets? No?
I don't know that.
When we're done. Emerald tablets.
I know what the emerald tablets are. We'll let Bobby know. I don't know.
Ancient aliens?
It is.
Is the Sumerian tablets? Is that the?
It is. It's the Sumerian tablets.
Okay. Yeah.
I've heard of this.
You know,
I'm familiar.
All right,
y'all. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Angela. We love you.
Make sure it says done loading before you
close out.
You close it.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't